Welcome to Larry's Library. It's the first Tuesday of a new month, so it's time for a new Top 10 Tuesday. I am continuing my nostalgic journey through the 70s, this time 1972. Before I get to my favorite comic books of 1972, I do like to sort of set the stage and the setting, get it nailed down by talking about some of my favorite movies and music from the same year. The first of two made for TV movies, ABC Movies of the Week they were, featuring Carl Kolchak, brilliantly played by Darren McGavin, later to star in the legendary TV series of the same name, Night Stalker, came out in 1972. I dearly loved this movie and the series that came out of it. Douglas Trumbull's great sci-fi movie Silent Running came out in 72. Hammer Films had Vampire Circus. Love that one. Herbert Ross directed Woody Allen and Diane Keaton in Play It Again, Sam, from a script by Woody Allen. If you love Bogart and Casablanca, this movie is for you. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes came out in 72. This was the fourth of the original ape films. And now for something completely different, a theatrically released compilation of the great Monty Python TV series, the first two seasons. This one came out in 1972 in the U.S. market. I think it came out in 71 in the U.K. As for music, one of my favorite bands of all time, Mott the Hoople, their fifth studio album, All the Young Dudes, came out that year. Also, the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street was 72. Deep Purple's Machine Head was 1972. And David Bowie's concept epic, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, that came out in 1972, and that thing is awesome. Tremendous album from start to finish. If you haven't heard that, go listen to it right now. But this is about comic books, specifically my favorite comics of 1972. Now, these aren't meant to be the best necessarily comics of that year or the most seminal, but they're seminal to me because they're my favorites of that year. Now, I was only 4 years old in 1972, so I didn't experience any of these books or music or movies or any of that until, at least 5 or more years later. But at number 10, I have The Demon #1 by Jack Kirby. Pencils, the writing, inked by Mike Royer, great combo. All 16 issues of this one are featured in, collected in the DC Universe Bronze Age Omnibus by Jack Kirby. It's in there along with a lot of other goodies. Love this character. Great stuff. At number 9, I have Fear, issue number 10, aka Adventure into Fear, with the Man-Thing. Love this cover by Gray Morrow. This one's written by Jerry Conway, pencils by Howard Chaykin with inks by Gray Morrow. Talk about a great combo. Wow. Not his first appearance, but for the first time he headlined his own book was here. This is one of 3 stories in this issue. Collected in the Man-Thing Omnibus is a great way to own it. I had the singles at one time, but I have the big omni of it now. At number 8, I have the first issue of Defenders, written by Steve Englehart, pencils by our pal Sal Buscema, inks by Frank Giacoya, cover here by Sal Buscema. Always loved the Defenders. They were Marvel's non-team team, if you will. Had a lot of supernatural subplots and whatnot throughout a lot of the arcs of the Defenders series. Always loved it. I've read every issues of the Defenders. Just absolutely love this series. At number 7, I have Swamp Thing issue number 1, written by, of course, Lynn Wein, pencils and inks by the legendary Bernie Wrightson. Just gorgeous work here. Cover by Wrightson. This has been reprinted in a variety of ways. I have it in the Bronze Age Swamp Thing Omnibus. I have it in the Swamp Thing by Wein and Wrightson Absolute Edition, which is gorgeous, great big format. It's technically the first appearance of the Alec Holland version of Swamp Thing. House of Secrets 92 is the Alex Olson version, which I think was featured in the last Top 10, 1971. DC is even going back to that well again, and they're about to release, I think in the fall of this year, the Dark Genesis Swamp Thing Double Omni Box Set Edition, which is going to go back to the original colors. Yeah. And it's all restored nicely. It includes an extra issue that's never been printed before, but that's not what this is about. But I'm excited to buy this story yet again because I love it that much. At number 6, I have Kull the Conqueror, issue number 3. I could have easily picked any of the issues of Kull from that year, but I decided to go with this one. Love this cover so much. The Death Dance of Thulsa Doom is the name of the story. Written by Roy Thomas, of course. Pencils by Marie Severin. Such an underrated artist right there. Inks by her brother John. And this cover is by John Severin. The Severins were such a powerhouse of art. Both of them love their work. This is collected in the Kull the Conqueror omnibus. I also have this in singles. I couldn't part with them. I still have all of it, even though I got the hardcovers now. Look at that cover. Love those monsters. And I think that Thulsa Doom has got to be one of the all-time great Robert E. Howard villains. Speaking of Robert E. Howard, at number 5, right in the middle of my top 10 countdown here, I have Conan the Barbarian 14. Now, I could have chose many issues of Conan from that year. It was a rough decision, narrowing it down to one, but I decided to go with this because it has Elric. And this was written by Roy Thomas, of course, from a plot by Michael Moorcock and James Cawthorne. Pencils by Barry Windsor Smith. Inks by Sal Buscema again. Cover by Barry Smith. This is collected in that first Conan the Barbarian omnibus, if you want to get it that way. I had the single at one time, ended up selling it. I don't know. I kind of regret some of that, but you got to part with something eventually, to make room, if nothing else. But love this cover so much. This was probably my first exposure to Elric, was in the pages of Conan. Love the character from day one. And if you know a lot about Elric, if you've read some of the novels, you probably know that this is not the greatest depiction of him. It's not exactly what he looks like, but it's kind of goofy, but I still loved it. And yeah, it's just such nostalgia for me. And I think it still holds up, too, if you like this kind of goofy crossover stuff. Elric meeting Conan, or Conan meeting Elric, It's a sword called Stormbringer. Just love it. Love this cover, too. At number 4, I have Marvel Premiere Issue 4, The Spawn of Sliggeth is the story here. Plot by Roy Thomas, again, featuring concepts by Robert E. Howard. Script by Archie Goodwin. Pencils by Barry Windsor Smith again. Full pencils for the first few pages. Then he did layouts for the remainder. Inks and finishes by Frank Brunner. Such a cool combination. This cover is by Smith, but inked by Tom Palmer here. Very slick cover. Love that too. This is collected in that Doctor Strange Master of the Mystic Arts Omnibus Volume 1. I have the original of this one too. I could not part with it. Love this so much. Such a great story. Love the Robert E. Howard concepts too. Fantastic. Now at number 3, I have Marvel Spotlight Issue 2. This was originally, this was released in the fall of 1971 with a cover date of February 1972. So I'm letting it slide as a 1972 here. I do play fast and loose with that, so where it overlaps like this, I'm going to try to include that info in here, because I've had people call me and say, well, that really wasn't that year, But there's always a few months gap between, sometimes more than a few months, between the cover date and the actual release date. And, I've used both. So the plot here is by Roy and Gene Thomas, but the script is by Jerry Conway. Art by one of the great masters, Mike Ploog. Pencils and inks in this one. It's such a treat. This is the first appearance of the werewolf Jack Russell. This is collected in the Werewolf by Night Omnibus, if you can find that. I think it might be out of print. Surely they'll reprint it. They say they reprint everything these days, but, not everything. Or they may do everything, but you're going to be waiting years in some cases. But this is great stuff. Love this character. Love the artwork. You don't hear Mike Ploog talked about near enough, I don't think. He was such a great, especially at this kind of horror books, monster books. He was great at that. Just love it. I believe this cover is by Neil Adams and Tom Palmer. Yeah, Mike Ploog, not talked about near enough. Such a great master of this sort of horror. This is peak 1970s Marvel monster horror work right here. This is it. At number 2, I have Commandy issue number 1. Written by Jack Kirby, pencils by Jack Kirby, inks by Mike Royer. Another great combination there. Great combo. Royer inks are perfect for Jack Kirby, especially this era. The premise here is Jack Kirby takes the the whole Planet of the Apes idea and just amps it up to 12. So you have not just intelligent apes, but you have intelligent bipedal walking tigers and lions and all sorts of animals, bears, insects of all manner. It's wild. Everybody but humans. Yeah, I loved it. One curious thing, I hear some people mispronouncing Commandy. It's not Commandi. He took his name from the bunker where he grew up. When he leaves it, you see a shot of it. I should have done a scan here, but I don't think I did. I don't have one prepared, but it's where he comes out of there when he starts to explore the world. And the door, the outer part of it, it says Command D, Command Center D. So that's how he got his name. So it is Commandy. But yeah, I love this. High concept Jack Kirby. This is peak 70s Jack Kirby right here. Commandy was a great series. I had the original of this at one time, but now I own it in the Commandy by Jack Kirby Omnibus. So pick that up if you want it. There's probably other trades and things to collect it too, I imagine. But yeah, it's great, great stuff. But what is my number one favorite comic book of 1972? Well, of course, it's Werewolf by Night, issue number 1. So after he starred in Marvel Spotlight 2 through 4, he finally gets his own title proper. Written by Jerry Conway, still. Pencils by Mike Ploog. Yeah, still more of that great Mike Ploog work. Inks by Frank Chiaramonte, I believe is the pronunciation. More great Marvel monsters here. And we've got a Ploog cover here on this one as well. Absolutely love that cover. Love this series. It was so great. It's one of the first ones I tried to collect as a kid, I think. Because I was buying them out of like 20-cent boxes. Kind of somewhat ragged reader copies I was picking up for 20 cents a piece as a little kid. Tried to get all these. Never could back then. Never managed to get them all, of course. I did, years later, as an adult, collect them all. Then I ended up selling that off when I got the omnibus. But, that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to make room. You got to make room, and you got to pay for all this. It's got to come from somewhere. But yeah, I absolutely adore this, and it's easily my favorite comic book of 1972. So, what are your favorites from that year? Go ahead and post about it down below. I'd love to hear them, and I hope you enjoyed this. What is probably an epic trip through nostalgia for people my age or older, and hopefully it's a bit of discovery for newer readers. Maybe it's things they want to check out and explore now. And that's what great comic books are about, exploring the past and the future, not just today. So hope you did enjoy this. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. My YouTube stats tell me that way over half of the views I'm getting on these videos are from people that aren't subscribed. So help me out here. Hit that subscribe if you liked it and come back for more. And I will catch you next time.